Hello, my name is Austin Belzer, and welcome back to the Austin Lee Media Podcast. Before we get into the main show, I have to tell you how you can support my work. The way I fund my work, whether it be a review of a movie I rented or paying for Zoom, my Patreon is the way you can help offset those costs. Patrons like Ambula Beulah, Brian Scuttle, David Walters, Joseph Davis of Sip Pop, Matthew Simpson of Awesome Friday, Tom Blackbird, and more help make episodes like this possible. So thank you to all of my lovely patrons out there. Beyond financial support, you can get some pretty sweet perks. Whether you're into 48-hour early access to my reviews and this podcast, monthly surveys, giving direct feedback, commentaries, and just about everything in between, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/AustinBmedia. You can also save 16% if you decide to subscribe annually. On top of that, if you're not ready to subscribe, you can get a 7-day free trial on every tier I offer. With that said, let's get to the show. Today, we'll be discussing the first season of Gen V, which is a spinoff of The Boys. And today I have Alise Chaffins on to discuss. Sorry, I'm a little scattershot. I hear the leaf blower behind me, and I know it's not coming through, but it's just so distracting to me. But anyways, hi, welcome to the podcast. For those who haven't listened to our 2 Barbie podcast episodes, tell everyone about your work.
Hi, I'm Alise Chaffins. I am a freelance writer for a newspaper here in Morgantown, West Virginia called the Dominion Post, and I write on a Substack, MacGuffin, or Meaning, where I basically look at different movies and talk about the ways that they either work for me or not. I'm also working on a Ted Lasso book, looking at the relationships in that show. Yeah, so a little bit of everything going on.
So then I've got to ask, this has happened since our last podcast recording. Are you going to watch the Hannah
Mhm.
Waddingham Christmas special?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Hannah is just the best. So definitely I'll be there.
Because I don't know if you've watched the trailer, but it ends with all the cast of Ted Lasso coming up to hug her.
Yeah. Oh, she is stunning. And anything. I'm actually heading next weekend. So I don't know when that will be for everyone here, but the week before Thanksgiving to see Roy Kent, Brett Goldstein in
Oh,
his
nice.
stand up. I'm super excited about it. So the second best night of my life, apparently. So we'll see.
Is that the title of the stand up?
Yeah, which I think is phenomenal, so I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome. So before we get to our discussion, this is the drill. Is there any movie, show, album, or anything else you want to recommend before we get into this discussion?
I am super late to it by an entire year, but I just watched Fleischman is in Trouble,
I
and
need to
oh
see
my
that.
oh, it just it is sticking with me so much. Like, I wrote about it last week, and yeah, it's old. It was from last year, but it is spectacular. I adored every second of it. It is one of the best things I've seen in a while. So, it's a real old recommendation, but yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, and for those who, let's see, is I forget when the Emmys are. You've got a few months to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think it's nominated in limited series.
Yeah, limited series. I think Claire Danes is nominated, which goodness, she was spectacular. So, yeah, like, it's really good. So, I definitely recommend. Mm.
In that same vein, I'm gonna recommend something really quick in case I haven't already. I can't remember if I've recommended this, but I just recommended this to my grandma. There's a Jamie Foxx, Tommy Lee Jones movie called The Burial. Just came out on Prime Video about a month ago.
Mhm. Yeah.
Courtroom drama based on a true story. Tommy Lee Jones plays a funeral home director. Bad business deal brings on Jamie Foxx's character to kind of settle the whole thing. And yeah, it's just an old school courtroom drama. It's pretty much cut and dry from there. But yeah, I'd recommend it. I watched it at I want to say 11 o'clock at night. So that might have helped, but yeah,
Well, I
I
probably
really
watched it at 11 in the morning and it was still good then. So, yeah,
okay. No, because there are some times where if you watch a movie so late, it does tend to be like, this is automatically better because you're in a state of mind, different state of mind if you watch something at 11 o'clock versus 11 a.m. versus 11 p.m. So,
definitely.
anyways, uh, go check it out. It's on Prime Video. Fleshman is in Trouble is on Hulu.
Hulu. Yeah.
At least for now, until the Hulu brand gets absorbed into Disney Plus, and then it's all one app.
Right.
I think they're doing a. I think they talked about doing a beta that next month of
Okay.
incorporating Hulu into the Disney Plus app, and then being rolled out next year. But that said, let's talk Gen V. We have a lot to
Oh,
talk about.
so much.
Um, and just heads up, we will talk spoilers quite a bit, probably more than we actually will talk spoiler free, uh, because I think the spoiler discussion is going to be where it's the most interesting. Um, so I'll have a timestamp in the recording for those who maybe want to just check out after this spoiler free discussion. Uh, but that's it. You've been warned. You'll be warned again before we go into spoiler free discussion, spoiler filled discussion, rather.
Yeah.
Elise, the big question. So, this is a spinoff of The Boys. The natural question is, how did it compare to The Boys in tone and style? Um, yeah, how did it compare to The Boys?
So I went into this with very low expectations because spin-offs are just notoriously just super iffy. So I I was excited because I love the boys, but I don't know, we'll see what it does. Man, I loved it. I thought that it
Same.
hit what you expect from the boys without just being a carbon copy of the boys, which was, yes, super impressive to me. Like the way that it dealt with different issues were just really fantastic. I loved it. I thought tone wise, it's very in line with the boys. Like I don't think you'll go into it and think, oh, this is totally outside of that like universe.
No.
But goodness, yeah, no, I thought it was great. So yeah. My low expectations were blown out of the water.
Yeah, it was interesting because to give everyone a touchstone for this, and this is probably a less watched superhero show than Gen V, just because of where it's streaming. But it reminded me a lot at times of Doom Patrol,
I could see that. Yeah.
and just it's not zany, but like how out there it is at times, and how hyper real is at times. But this is, to use a '90s reference, I think if The Boys was a goofy movie, this is an extremely goofy movie.
There we go.
Or I guess for Gen Z, what would be the analogous? This, if The Boys was Twilight, this is Breaking Dawn.
There we go.
There you go. I think I've got all four quadrants there. But yeah, it basically for me is a college version of The Boys in many aspects, because it's just like, hey, what do these soups who are learning to be soups, what do they deal with? What's the beginnings of what a soup is growing up? Like, what is the soup version of, oh, what's a famous college like Harvard?
Yeah.
That's what I find it analogous to. What are the social issues at that they think is important? What generally happens at a soup focused university? But yeah, and I guess with that, let's get into overall thoughts on
Mhm.
it. Did you feel like it did enough to, I guess, stand out on its own, and then also try to, Yeah, did it stand on its own, and then how does it work as that standalone, as well as a spinoff?
I I think it's maybe a little tougher as a standalone. I think if you haven't watched The Boys, it might be a little bit of a hard sell to come into it without that background, just because of some of the cameos that happen throughout the show.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like without the context of The Boys, it might be a little bit tough to get into Gen V. I can't imagine there were a ton of people watching who aren't already fans of The Boys.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those metrics or anything, but I expect it's largely the same audience. So yeah, as far as that goes, I don't know that you could come into Gen V without it. I suppose you could, but I think it would be tough, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough because, and this isn't spoilers, but I think it even opens with a Vought News Network like thing of here's very specific things that happened in The Boys season 3.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of your question of overlap, I think The Boys has like probably my demographic, like probably, I don't know, 24 to 35, somewhere around there. Whereas I think Gen V will, and I'll be interested to see the stats if Amazon releases them. But
Mhm.
I think Gen V, I think it tend to skew towards Gen Z naturally, because I think it's trying to. There are moments in this show where it's very clearly trying to say, "Hey, Gen Z, that problem you deal with in real life, here's how soups deal with it." That's one. I guess with that question answered, a big part of this show is character focus. I guess what characters did you find the most interesting or compelling in the show?
I really liked Emma. I thought she was an interesting character. As somebody who's not like main, one of the more supporting characters, I just found her story really fascinating. I think she's somebody I'll be again, I don't want to get into spoilers quite yet. So I'll talk more about some of her some of the thoughts about her in a minute, but I really liked her, and Sam of course was fantastic. So I think they were probably 2 of my favorites. Very interested to see where things go as things were left at the end of the season. I'll be very anxious to see what happens with both of them because they both had some really interesting character arcs through the seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I very specifically want to talk about a specific moment with Emma in spoilers.
Okay.
Uh, because somebody brought something up that was like, "Oh, that's really interesting."
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I really liked. I think I liked. It's a tie for me between either Sam and. You hear that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. Because I thought he opened the door with the leaf blower.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, there we go. But yeah, I thought the two. It's neck and neck for me. I think either Sam or oh gosh, Jordan, is that his name
Mm,
or is that their name?
Jordan's a yeah.
Because I thought the whole concept of the power of being able to switch genders on the fly, and obviously there's meta commentary on the transgender experience. On yeah, we'll get into that specifically spoilers. Um,
That's like this section has to be real short so we can get to the
uh,
spoilers.
but one character I thought that she's on like front and center in the poster. She's supposed to be like the main character in the show. Is Marie. I didn't really think she did a good job, and not because of her acting. I just think the story really doesn't serve her all that well because we're supposed to be this emotionally invested, but then we're like split between five other characters. So then it becomes like this whole thing. So yeah, I would have loved to, and maybe this happens in season two a bit more because of what happens at the end of season one. Maybe we'll get a bit more time with her, and I hope we do because I think she had real potential to be like the big thing. But yeah, we'll talk about all these people in spoilers. We got a
For
lot to
sure.
talk about in spoilers.
Yeah.
And I guess with dodging spoilers, um, what do you think about the conceit of the show setting up a mystery at the center of the show? And was that like an effective way to keep you uh, coming back week after week, or was it something else that maybe kept you coming back?
Yeah, I'll say that I was a lot more interested in what was happening with the characters than with the mystery. The mystery has a lot of implications for season 4 of The Boys, like massive implications for that. So it's not that I wasn't interested in it, but I wasn't interested in it as much for Gen V as I am for what's coming in the next season of The Boys. So I think that's where, again, like I think that's what like hurts it in terms of being a standalone kind of event is that one of the big parts of it really I don't think has as much implication for the show itself. It does. It's not that it doesn't have any because it deals with why are they at God you in the first place. But other than that, it's a lot more to do with the larger picture of the boys universe. And so to me, it was maybe less effective there, but I'm still very excited about it.
Yeah, I think who's the showrunner? Eric Kripke.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he described it as Gen V season one hands off to Boys season four, and the Boys season four hands off to Gen V season two, which will then
Right.
head
Right.
off into season five of the Boys, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think I saw yesterday that The Boys season 4 is supposed to start basically about a month after in the timeline, about a month after the events of the end of Gen V.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a
So,
specific list Kripke
yeah.
tweeted out, or X'd out, or
Yeah.
posted out, whatever it's called this week. But I think as to the mystery of the show, I didn't need it. I think, and maybe we'll talk about this a bit more in spoilers, but I think it felt like a lot of what Marvel's been doing lately. And I
Mhm.
know people are criticizing Marvel lately. I get it, but this is actually a valid criticism. I think there's a lot of key jangling that happens in Gen V. That's hey,
Yeah.
look at this thing. It's going to set up season four of the boys. Look at this. Look at these keys. And I just didn't need that from a show that also tries to be a standalone story. And for a story that's trying to be so different from the boys, yes, it's set in that same universe, but it's trying to be like I said earlier, the Gen Z version of the boys, where it's like tackling social issues and meta commentary of everything else. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just think I could have gone without that, and I hope that they maybe lessen that a little bit in season two because there was a point where in Gen V where I was like, I don't know if I need this thing to happen, but we'll talk about that in spoilers. But I guess we've been dancing around it. How do you think it handled all the uh, political and social issues that it brings up?
Yeah, I think it did them justice. I thought it was pretty good. Like when I watch The Boys, it seems to have a larger it seems to tackle maybe like larger like more system kind of things. So obviously it starts out The Boys starts out as just a commentary on superheroes in general and probably the police state to some degree, just like how if you have this unlimited power and everything, how is that going to affect you? But really, like maybe people are not like generally the more power people have doesn't make them better people. And like maybe the way we look at superheroes is wrong. And so I thought that was so that's what The Boys does. And then it dealt more, I think, in especially season three with season two too, but two and three a lot with like politics, particularly American politics, but I think global politics in general too. But this kind of went to some of the smaller issues. So, like self harm kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And like you mentioned earlier, like transgender identity issues and stuff like that. So, I thought that was interesting the way it focused maybe on stuff that I do think is maybe of like more concern to like Gen Z in general. So, I think that, and I think the way they handled it was pretty good. It's real broad strokes in The Boys, and it's pretty broad strokes in Gen V as well. So I don't want to be like it's a super nuanced whatever, but there were a couple of really good scenes. I particularly there's a scene with like when the parents come and you meet a bunch of parents with
Yeah.
the soups, and like that to me was probably one of the most effective scenes in terms of dealing with that. I thought that was really good. I will definitely talk about that a lot, especially with Emma, because I felt like that was the big place with her. But yeah, that was so yeah, I think it did it well. Maybe not with the most nuance, but overall I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, there were specific moments where I'm like, okay, I understand that you're trying to make a commentary on these issues, but you're doing it in a kind of roundabout way that seems a little obvious. Like
Yeah.
when Marie and Emma meet for the first time, and this isn't spoilers. I'm not going to mention anything that's even remotely spoilers. Um,
Hmm.
she mentions, "Hey, why can't I open this window?" And then, oh, it's. I think she says it's for their safety or our safety or something like that,
Right.
because I think they mention like people jump out or whatever stuff like
Right.
that. They allude to like suicide a lot, um, and yeah, they're yeah, it felt very okay. I get it, but you didn't have to be like that direct with it, or
Right.
and, like, another example was when a specific moment happens, there is this, um a lot of the God U students view the world through the eyes of social media,
Uh,
and there's this scene where I
the
forget her
stretchy arm
character.
girl.
Yeah, where she's, like, fake crying, and then as soon as she, like, finishes the video, she, switches back to, like, just being like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go edit it." And there are a lot of those moments where I'm like, I feel, and I don't know if, I hope that in maybe a second season, that for those moments, I hope they get somebody on the writing team that maybe is of younger. I don't know how you could get a Gen Z person on the writing staff, but that would be nice because
Yeah.
it definitely felt like a, hey, look at this social issue. And that's not necessarily bad, it just felt like they didn't understand the heart of the some of these issues,
Yeah.
and instead just said, "Hey, here's this thing. Okay, now we're gonna move on."
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I
um,
agree.
but, with that said, let's see, what would you like to see in a second season?
Oh gosh. I would like them I'll be anxious to see what happens. At the end of the season, there are basically 2 factions that kinda happen. I'll be really anxious to see how that plays out, like, what that looks like, because I think one of the things that I notice, I have 6 Gen Z kids. Yeah, so it's a blended family. But what I notice is that there tend to be a fair number of extremes, I would say, in Gen Z. And I don't think that's even necessarily a bad thing, but I think they tend to have, and I think some of that is just the age in general. I think you tend to have more I don't know, strong views with maybe a little, I don't want to say less nuance. I don't want to sound like old lady screeching at the young people these days. But I do think just generally, I mean, I think about to myself when I was in my mid 20s, my views were a lot more black and white because I just hadn't I had I'm not a kid. I'm an adult. I have adult thoughts about things, but I also don't have a ton of experience in the world because I'm in my mid 20s. That is different as I approach 50. Like it's just a different kind of thing. So I don't say that to be negative. I love Gen Z. They are super fun. But also, I think we do have these fairly extreme kind of sides in this. And I think that is representative of Gen Z in Gen V. And so I think that they did that pretty well. And I'll be anxious to see how that goes because you do see the beginnings of looking at nuanced kind of ways of, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, but also maybe not. So I'll be anxious to see how they follow up with that. I think it can be really interesting. Yeah, the hard thing with this show is just it's because it's so woven in with the boys. I feel like it's hard to know what I want from season 2 when we have the whole basically extra season of TV that I think is going to shift how I might feel about that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and we probably won't get Gen V till season 2, till
Yeah.
2026,
Yeah, that would be
probably,
my guess. Yeah.
because The Boys season 4 is some nebulous 2024 date, as was revealed yesterday, and, yeah, I don't see it taking less than 2 years to.
Yeah, same. I don't think so either. So, I don't know. We'll see. But the two factions are probably the part that will continue into season 2. And so I guess that in terms of the story there, that's what I'm most anxious to see. That and to see what Marie's deal is because there is a very powerful soup and I'll be real anxious to see what they do with her. And like you, I felt like she got the short shrift on season 1. So I'll be anxious to see what they do with her.
Yeah, and what would I like to see in season 2? I really don't know because of how season 1 ends.
Yeah.
I think depending on how season 4 The Boys ends, I think that will inform me on what I would want, but honestly, I'd rather, I guess I said it earlier, I would like to see less key jangling, less
Hmm.
cameos. I don't need it to necessarily tie all the way into The Boys. I can just have it. I'm okay with it just being something where, oh, hey, here's Bot News Network, or here's one of the seven, or something like that. I'm
Right.
fine with just little things where it's, oh yeah, this is The Boys. Got it. Um,
Yeah, a lot more with the background stuff. Like I loved all of the posters and drinking the A train beverage or whatever. So like they did a lot of those kind of things. That I'm super here for. Like little Easter eggs like that. Yeah, give me all of those. That's fine. But yeah, in terms of cameos and like really direct tie-ins, I don't need that either.
yeah. With that said, let's see, what are our final thoughts and ratings for this season?
That's good. If you like the boys, it's impossible for me to imagine you not enjoying this show like Gen V. I can't see how it doesn't work for you. But yeah.
I will say I do not think that is the case. I think because of how college focused it is limiting in that aspect,
I don't know.
because I because for those who haven't watched this season, which why are you listening to us if you haven't watched the season? But do whatever you want. I think it's even more graphic at times than The Boys, and I think,
Oh yeah. They replay and replay.
yeah, and I'm just like, okay, there might be some I know who may just be like, I'll just watch The Boys, and I'm sure there's like a pipeline where you can watch The Boys by itself and watch Gen V by itself, but I don't think for much.
Yeah.
I think after this season, Gen V is going to be even closer knit. But I have some theories about that that we'll talk about in spoilers. Final rating for me is probably a 4
That would
or
be my thought. like
Yeah, so
four-ish. Yeah.
out of 5, by the way, not
Yeah.
out of 10. It just there are I would do 5 out of 5, but there's some moments where I feel it really just falls apart,
Mhm.
especially around, and this isn't spoiling anything. I think about the halfway point, it is when you're like, "Oh, got it." Like with Ahsoka, there's, like, a certain moment that happens where you're like, "Okay, now this is the show I wanna watch."
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
feel like the main reason I wouldn't give it 5 is just because it does rely, in my mind, pretty heavily on the boys, and if a show is its own show and not part of another thing, then I feel like it needs to be its own thing, and because this is only on the outer edges of being its own thing, that's the big reason why I would give it 4 rather than a higher rating, but it's a pretty good 4.
yeah, it's like a solid 4 for me. It's a
Yeah.
strong 4 for me.
And I would personally say it's a real good season, like 3B.
Yeah,
Of
it
The
really is.
Boys. 'Cause I had some issues with season 3 of The Boys, particularly at the end, and this cleaned away a lot of that for me.
Yeah, it really did.
So,
But with that said, let's get into our spoiler discussion. If
yeah,
you have not watched the entire season, and I do mean the entire season, what is it, 9 episodes? 8,
if
9?
that, yeah, 8
Some
or 9, yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't, like if you haven't watched all of Gen V season 1,
Yeah.
turn back now because we are gonna talk about everything, like, literally everything. Okay, maybe not literally everything. We're not gonna talk about what brand of blankets does,
Right.
Polarity use, but we're gonna get pretty in depth. So turn back now. This is your final warning.
Yep.
Alright, still here? Cool. First, what was your favorite reveal of the season?
Oh my gosh. Favorite reveal. I guess the end where Emma is small with
Okay.
vomiting is really, that feels important to me because of just the way her character is and because of the way they deal with it. So throughout the whole season, she throws up in order to get small, and she only gets small for like all of the past prior to being at Godyu. And then when, as far as I know anyway, I don't think she knew that she could get big. And there's a scene where she gets big, like she eats and becomes giant Emma, which is awesome. It's so great. And that's part of why I love her character is like, and so a lot of it's tied to eating disorders is the way it's
Mhm.
framed, I think, is, oh, here's somebody and you have this eating disorder and that's your superpower. And I really loved the way that the show dealt with, here's this problem that you have and you talk about it in terms of your superpower. And so Marie with cutting herself. So you have that kind of self-harm. You
Mhm.
have Emma with, purging to get small. And so many of their powers are tied to some kind of negative behavior, but that's what also makes them special. And I just thought that was a really interesting kind of way to tie those two things together. But Emma at the end of the finale is small without purging. And so then there's this moment of, oh, is Emma a character whose maybe emotions are what make her big or small and the way that she feels. So when she purges, she feels bad and that makes her small. When she's like able to eat what she wants, she feels more powerful and bigger. And so I'm very excited to see what they do with her because that felt massive to me, especially with her mom and the way that her mom is like, "Oh, are you like writing down every single thing that you eat so that you're not too big or you're not too small? Are you like keeping track?" And so she has this real like stage manager mom. And I just, I'm so excited to see what happens with her. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. What's interesting about that reveal with Emma, I think, is it didn't click for me what why that it could have been her powers could be emotion driven
Right.
until I always watch the Screen Crust things.
Ryan
They
Airy, so great.
they always know more than me because they actually read the comics, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to devote an entire month to just reading all the Gen V stuff, especially since I think a lot of these characters are new to these don't haven't existed in the boys universe because they do have Gen V, like they have the G Men in the boys comic books, but it's entirely different. But it didn't click for me that as an emotion based until I watched the video talking about the finale, and I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot more sense," because you played a specific clip of her eating a lot to get big, and oh, so yeah, that makes a lot more sense. To She would feel powerful because of all the nutrients of eating a lot. Um, but what if it's just, oh, I feel powerful because now I can just not have to worry about what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, particularly with her mom, which is why that episode is probably one of my favorites, the one with the parents coming in. I just thought it was the one that was really solid. Yeah.
And the absence of Marie's parents, because
And
obviously,
Kate's
it,
parents, yeah.
yeah,
Ugh, yeah.
uh, just hits harder because they're just like wandering around. They're like, and they connect over that lack of parenthood, which is interesting for how the season ends up.
Yeah.
Um, and what she makes Marie go through
Yeah.
with Shetty. So,
Yeah. Oh
um,
my gosh.
oh my god, that's probably more messed up. That moment is probably more messed up than anything the boys has ever done, and
Yeah.
including the octopus thing. Timothy is
Which
gone too
one?
soon. But yeah, jokes aside, yeah, I really like that episode too, the parents episode. But yeah, let's see. I really like that. See, where do I want to go from here? Let's see. Who else did you mention?
If we're talking about parents, I feel like that's a good place to like segue into Kate because I think
Okay.
Kate's extended family really impacts the way that maybe even more than Marie it does. But I think that was the interesting thing. And maybe where Marie was tough for me this season is I felt like Kate's whole story felt so much more impactful. Like Marie accidentally killing her parents and then her sister saying, "No, I don't want you around. I don't want to
Hmm.
be with you because you did this on purpose or whatever." That is a compelling story for sure. I don't want to pretend like it's not, but I feel like Kate's story of no, her parents keep her around, but they're locking her in her room behind this massive steel door. Yeah, thick steel door. They won't touch her at all because of what she did to her brother. Her tormentors are there with her every single day. That is horrifying. And to me, that is so much worse than Marie's story, even though Marie's is worse because I guess technically because her parents are dead. I don't know. There's something to me that's, I think because so many people have this really strained relationship with parents, that like I think just hits better. So I felt like I think that kind of wiped out a lot of Marie's story because to me, like Kate's just works in a way that I think more people can relate to. Most people don't accidentally murder their parents, but a lot of people have really strained relationships with their parents because of, you know, who they are. And
Hmm.
so to me, that just made her story so much more compelling. And they have these similar arcs, but like to me, Kate's is just so much stronger. And so, yeah, like Kate's story is just fantastic to me. Yeah, I really hard for me to pick a favorite because they're all so good.
Yeah, and can I make a bold prediction for season 2 of Gen V?
Go.
I think Marie actually doesn't care whether she reconnects with her sister. I get that vibe very strongly because even though she's like really emotional anytime they flash back to it, I don't feel like Marie herself. I feel like it's a lie she told herself that she wants to be that not seen as a monster. I think it's actually something where she's no, because I had a traumatic memory. This will make it better, and
Mm,
she's sold herself on that lie because we see where she grows up, and maybe that's a lie she told herself to make it through the system
mhm.
and get to God you.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah. Mm.
But yeah, with gosh, who else? Let's see. Do we want to talk about Sam or Andre or Jordan next?
I mean, we can certainly talk about Jordan because I think they're an interesting character. I loved, casting. I love that on the poster you have both
Hmm.
like versions of Jordan. I thought that was really neat. I dig that. I thought that they handled Jordan's story really well. I particularly liked the scene after Marie and Jordan hook up. And then Jordan's mad because Marie freaked out when she woke up and Jordan was in their female body at that time. And I think were they talking with Kate maybe? I can't remember who Jordan was talking to, but they said something along the lines of, "Oh, this all freaked out." And Kate, I think it was Kate, but I truly don't remember. It was like, "Yeah, but you went to bed with her as a dude, and so that was your thing. You didn't think that she'd hook up with you unless you were a guy." And I just thought that was really interesting
It
in
wasn't
terms
Kate.
of,
It was a translucent son he was talking to.
oh, okay, okay,
I forget his
okay.
name. Glasses boy.
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah, M something or other. I can't remember. Okay.
The TA. I'll just
Yeah.
call him TA.
That's fine. But I thought that was really interesting, that idea of, like, gender and sexuality and the way that they differentiated with that. I thought that was really cool, and so I like that, and then I have transgender kids, and so this is, like, a topic that's of importance to me, and so I thought that the discussion with the parents was really interesting as well with Jordan, of your parents accept you, but not really, and that is always one of the saddest things to me is people who have that kinda, like, half measure of acceptance, and
Mhm.
so I thought that was really interesting as well of, "Yeah, it's fine, but I'm gonna still call you the pronoun that's more comfortable for me," or whatever, and I thought they did
Right.
that. It's a little on the nose, but without being, like, gross about it. I don't know, it felt good, and it was easy. I thought they took a little more risk there to have parents who are, like, ish supportive rather than parents who just kicked them out, which is where I expect it to go. And so I thought it was interesting to have this kind of like middling place because I think that's where a lot of people end up is with parents who don't kick them to the curb, but also aren't going to respect them in any kind of like genuine way. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and Marie even brings up, not in regards to the parents, she has a line of stop switching to a man when you want to make a point, which I thought was good because I think that line illustrated the whole internal struggle with Jordan of, oh, I want to use these gender norms for my benefit so I can get into what the top 10 was, top 10, top five, or something like
Right.
that. Because at every moment in the season, oh, I just did this because I want to get in the top 10 or whatever. Like even doing some pretty morally questionable things to get into the top 10.
Right.
Let's see. I do want to talk about, actually, one second. I will be right back. I got to do a bio break.
Yeah, totally.
So, sorry. I'm going to hit pause.
Cool.
I'll be right back. With that, I want to talk about Andre and his relationship with his dad, specifically a reveal that happens pretty late in the season. I think it's in the final episode, I think, that Clarity has a seizure on screen when being interviewed with by the guy from Bot News, like something Cameron.
Yeah.
Cameron or something, Cameron or something like that.
Something like
Um,
that.
it's alliterative or something like that. And then Andre's kind of pushed off to the side to where he's separated from all of the other, like from Marie, everyone, and is just in Seven Tower with his dad, and then learns that his dad's like seizure was caused by his powers, which was interesting. I'll say as somebody who has epilepsy, wasn't a big fan of that whole thing, but I understand it. Brain damage can cause seizures, but I was a little bit like, okay, you could have. I don't know. I feel like that could have been tweaked a little bit more to be something where, oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe you couldn't have a thing where he's dying and you. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a thing where I was like, okay, it probably doesn't do well for epilepsy's image to have such a spectacle out of it. Anyways, that aside, personal feelings aside. And then he hands down his suit to Andre. He's like, I've got to get it fitted. And it's the sins of the father, right? It's that classic thing. And I'll be really interested to see where they go with it. It depends. I don't know. But yeah, I just thought that I wanted to mention that really quick because I thought that was what they did with him was actually really cool. And we'll get to Sam here soon.
Yeah.
But next, I want to talk about the death of Golden Boy.
Yeah. That was a
Uh,
shocker.
yeah, like it's the first big. The Boys is full of WTF moments and things like that, but with Gen V, you're like looking for it, but then when the death happens, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is an entirely different thing.
In episode 1. What?
Yeah, and it starts like the whole narrative of controlling the narrative of the whole Guardians of Godolkin thing, which let me ask you, did you feel like that was a reference like Guardians of the Galaxy, or was that just me?
Probably a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to know on that one. But
Okay,
the 7 is feels very
Justice
Justice
League.
League-y, yeah. So, and yeah, to pull a Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't that makes sense to do that. Yeah.
But yeah, it was very interesting, I think, the Golden Boy death, because I think, but because what's interesting about it is Golden Boy keeps showing up throughout the season through either Sam, other people's memories of him, and interacts physically with people. Not I guess not unlike a Force Ghost from Star Wars, but I thought that was really well done because it can I think it directly confronted the stuff that happens later on in the season with him. I think directly confronts audience assumptions about what can a person do once they're dead in this universe. What is that? And it just flips it on his head, which I really appreciated.
Definitely.
But I feel like we talked about it more than the show, so we'll just move on to Rufus. I just want to mention Rufus really quick.
Oh my god.
I feel so bad for this man.
Really feel bad for him exactly, but my goodness, we reveled in his misery at the beginning of every single episode, I think, after it happened.
Because let's run through what happens. And maybe feel bad is probably not the best term to use, give considering who he is and what he does. But like he hits himself in the junk with a baseball bat repeatedly
Right.
because Kate tells him to, which honestly should be our first clue that maybe Kate isn't the person she thinks she is.
Right.
Um, and then gets his that same area exploded.
Oh,
Um,
that was horrifying. Oh my god.
even more than the termite cocaine thing from last season of
Oh,
The
I
Boys,
said that. Yeah.
because that was like gross, but this was like, oh.
Yeah.
Um, and then Does he die? Does Rufus die?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The one character comes up, he's filming something in his Homelander red hat, and the one character from the woods, and we'll get it, like, I don't know that he's a named character, but anyway, he comes up, probably is, but I definitely don't remember. But he comes up and he asks, "Are you a soup?" And he says, "Yeah." And then he goes on and he finds the professor who is not a soup and melts her face off. I
Which was
don't,
I
oh,
that
yeah. That
that
whole
moment.
finale, I want to talk about the finale because
Okay.
good night. That was, oh, something. Um, but anyway, like, I don't think Rufus dies in that. I think he still exists,
Okay.
after that. There was a lot of mayhem, so I don't know, but I'm fairly certain he survived. But goodness, yeah, like, he goes through some stuff, but he's also a fascist, so I'm okay.
Yeah. I will say I do like that the show gave him a moment to be like, "Hey, even though I've done all these terrible things and probably am a terrible person," because, yeah, we'll get to him later when we talk about Sam a bit more. Um, but, like, I like that they gave him a moment to be like, "Hey, I may have done evil things, but I didn't wipe your minds." So that was a nice little moment. But anyways, we'll talk about Rufus probably more in season 2. Come back next in
I
2026.
think yeah.
With that said, let's talk about the woods. All of it.
Yeah. The woods
Um,
is the part that to me felt the most superfluous, I feel.
yeah.
It's both essential and not at all. It's yeah. It's the 1 star off also kind of part of it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I really felt like the most key jangly of moments.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
where because every time they go to the woods, which is a lab where they're perfecting a compound V virus, or I forget, Dr. Cardoza, is that his name?
Cardoza, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He's perfecting it to make soup sick and possibly control soups, and Dean Shetty's, like, behind it all and all that stuff. I felt like that was the most, like, out of character for the show moment because
Yeah.
it's okay, like, as soon as they flash to it, I'm like, "Oh, this is The Boys season 4, got it." Especially in the final moments with Dr. Cardoza
Yeah.
with that handoff. But yeah, I feel like I hope, I guess the woods are gone?
I mean,
Question
I think
mark?
so. Yeah. They've
Because
butcher knows about the virus, it seems, in that
yeah,
last.
Kripke did confirm that he knows.
Yeah, I assume that he knows, and the woods served its purpose, it made the virus, and yeah, I don't know, it was the least effective part of the season for me, but it also, like I said, it's the part that's season 4 4A of the boys,
Yeah.
that's where it is, and, like, that yeah, like, I don't know how you use Sam very well. I guess that's where if they were doing something like this, what's the name of the facility that Stormfront went to? Whatever the place they
Red
like.
River?
Yeah, it's something. I think that's it. Yeah, I just feel like we already have that in the boys. So using basically almost exactly the same thing, it just felt redundant in a not good way. I Yeah, that was my thing. I just wish there was some way they could have done something with Sam without having, yeah, basically this, like, we lock up soups or we are experimenting on soups kind of thing. It just didn't, yeah, it didn't work for me great.
Yeah, and I think it lessens the stuff with Sam because it's
Right.
like, okay, we already know that there's things like this that exist somewhere else. Um, because what was it in the was it the orphanage that Marie's at? They tell him like you don't want to go to Red River. And okay, so they've set up that you don't want to go there, and then
Right.
they bring up the woods and you don't want to go there. So again, like you said, it's really redundant because we already have these places in universe. And you know what? I wonder if Eric Kripke was like, who I think, did he write the?
Yeah, I think he was one of the writers on the comic even, wasn't
Okay,
he? I
yeah,
believe, yeah.
maybe we don't read all the comics,
I don't read the comic.
especially ones that like are at the time. Because let's be honest, the boys at the time, yes, it had acclaim, but nobody was like, "Oh, you need to read this" in the same capacity that they are now. But I think it might have been one of those things where Eric was like, "Hey, we need to have the woods because I it's something from the comic books or something like that, and it serves this specific story purpose, and maybe it has even more of a purpose in season 2, 3, and so on." I don't think so, but I could see it being one of those immovable lore things. Five Nights at Freddy's. Go check out my review. Oh, and Elise, you
Yeah.
reviewed it too. Where I think he might have just said, "This is my non-negotiable for this show. It needs to have this and this."
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Um,
It just I don't know. It didn't work for me super
yeah,
great. I just feel like there could have been some way, yeah, to do that without yeah, it just felt a little that feels MacGuffin-y to me. I guess it just is like, it's not the meaning side, it's the MacGuffin side. It just didn't really have any like, it existed for the plot to happen rather than having any kind of, like, value in and of itself. That's my basic thought on it.
yeah, it's an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that, we've been dancing around Sam. Let's
Yeah.
talk about Sam. Let's just leave it open ended. Let's just talk about Sam. What did you think of him? What did you think of where his arc ends up? All of it. Let's talk all of it.
Yeah. Sam is a great character. Like, he is really interesting. I'll be very interested to see with him and Kate at the end of the season being lauded as the new Guardians of Godolphin. I'll be really anxious to see. But like, here's this kid who's taken away from his brother and obviously has like mental issues. And it looks like he was at Red River. Is that like when it starts and then gets moved to the woods? I guess I was a little
I think
foggy,
so.
but I think that's the story, is that he's sent there and then gets moved to the school, and without Golden Boy knowing this happened, without Luke knowing. And I think that is yeah, so you have this tragic person. The scene with him and the puppets is one of the best scenes just I've seen in a while. It's phenomenal. Just in terms of something to watch, the whole scene where he just mows down this entire team of whatever Vought people there to get him, but in puppet form is stunning. I adored it. I loved it so much.
And it's also funny too,
Yeah.
because there's a moment where he's, "I have a wife and kids," and the usual spiel, and then he feeds him his arm or something like that.
It's like the most gruesome scene that they've ever had on anything, but it's all puppets, so it's not I just thought for a show that does not shy away from violence and just intense gore, to take a scene that would be probably the bloodiest, most horrific scene in all of the show and take it all and do it on puppets is just so good. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was just perfect. Perfect scene.
Yeah, and I appreciated how, and maybe you didn't have this thing, but I have a moment until they confirmed it, like, the next episode, I was like, "Did that really happen?"
Yeah.
And then they talk about it next episode with Emma, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that did happen," because given Sam's mental state, it casts casts aspersions on, okay, is what's going on actually real? Because he sees TV's Jason Ritter and a puppet version of the Deep and things like that on TV, and But I thought I think his storyline was really well done, and I think him joining Kate,
Mm.
while a little bit, I think, rushed, I think it made sense, that disillusionment to, "Oh, I can be this way, and I am this way, because I am" it speaks to all sorts of things that have been happening politically in
Yeah.
real life. So, I thought it was a really nice handling of that, even more so than what's even happening on The Boys itself.
Yeah, because he goes and I thought that was the interesting thing, is that he goes and he has this day, he gets with Emma and they have their scene together and they hook up, and then she takes him, but she does the same thing a little bit that has happened to him his whole life, which is you have to hide here, you have to stay in this
Yeah.
room, don't interact with anybody. And even though I think she loves him and she's not doing this, I could see how in his mind it's, "Oh, I'm just being isolated again. I'm just somebody else is trying to control me." And here comes Rufus and like he steps outside and they're doing this like sledding thing and it's super fun and he could go and he can just be a regular person.
That's after. It's just a random person, like, where
Which is
this yeah.
Rufus grabs him and takes him to the
Mhm.
after party thing. But I loved that thing where it's, "Oh, here, you belong in this group. And now here, we want you to continue to belong. So come over here and join this." And yeah, somebody who's been, yeah, isolated for their whole life. They've never really had anybody close to them, to have this whole group that's, "We accept you and we want you to be a part of this." To me, his arc makes sense. I'm sad. I don't want Sam red pilled, but I see it. I think it's really good. And I think it speaks to so many people who do end up in these really like extremist kind of views, is it's a lot of isolation. And then you go and here's this group and they're ready to accept you. That works. That happens in real life to lots of people. And having Sam go down that route is sad to me. It's not where I want him, but I thought it was really good. I made sense. It felt story-wise really true.
Yeah, and you just made me think of a theory that somebody had about Sam in The Boys universe. So somebody said, because there's been images that have leaked from season 4 of The Boys, and there's Black Noir, and for anyone who knows, Black Noir is very much dead. So I think this kind of plays into the theory that Sam becomes Black Noir,
Yeah, I could
um,
totally see that.
because then he'll have that sense of belonging with Homelander and, like, always wanting to do what he says, and but also not wanting to be controlled in that same way. It'll be like a delicate balance that I think will be worked out in season 4, and probably I hate to say it, but I think Sam isn't making it past season 4 of The Boys.
Maybe. I do, the only thing I could see, because I've seen the theory floated of him being the new Black Noir. The only like potential issue I could see with that is there's the unmasked picture of him at the end. It's him and Kate at the
Mhm.
end of the news program. And so I'm not entirely sure how you navigate that. Like, how do you get rid of him? Because nobody knows, as far as I know, nobody knows that Black Noir is dead. We know, but the world does
Exactly.
not know, right?
Yeah. No, I think they say it's, like, missing or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I don't know if you kill Black Noir and then we're gonna use his suit with Sam. I'm not entirely sure, which they could definitely do that, but that's the only fly in the ointment I can see with Sam being Black Noir. But yeah, that feels pretty real to me. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
and go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Because let's face it, uh Kate's not joining the 7 with the half arm,
Yeah. No, I can't see that.
because we saw how Homelander looks at people. Last, season, they tried to recruit a blind superhero, or I believe that's the correct term,
Yeah.
and he just claps his ears in to yeah. So half an arm, maybe he's not as forgiving now as he was in season 3, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
um, but anyways, um, that actually leads me into another theory I have for but not for the boys.
Mhm.
I have a theory for Gen V season 2. What do you do with the Supes who have escaped the woods?
I don't know. A lot of them look like they were mowed down, just in the
Oh, yeah, okay.
so I
That
think a lot of them are dead.
okay, then that
So I
kinda
like we have to talk about that whole finale,
yeah,
which
let's do it.
is a deeply upsetting finale for kids who have had the threat. I think about I grew up prior to Columbine. Like that happened right as I was graduating college. And so but there's so many people whose their whole life is has been under the threat of school shootings. To have that much violence on a like school ground was it's an upsetting finale. They put a warning at the beginning of the episode
Oh,
that
did
it's
they?
going to deal with that. Yeah. That
Oh,
it
I didn't
deals with
get that.
violence on school a school setting. Yeah, which I think is good because it's upsetting and very, like, chaotic. It's a short episode, like, of all I think it's the shortest of the season. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm fairly certain because I was shocked that it was over as soon as it was. But yeah, to have that much, I thought it was just oh, it's really upsetting.
Episode
But
6 is the shortest one.
okay. But it's done so, so
Oh,
well.
I'm
Like
sorry. You're right, you're right.
yeah, I was like, it's one of the shortest for sure, because I think it's, like, just shy of 40 minutes or something, or right at 40 minutes, and
39 is what it
yeah,
says, and
okay,
then the Jumanji episode is 40.
there we go. Yeah, they're real close, but oh my goodness, and it yeah, it was just it was really, oh, something. I'll be anxious to see, speaking of Jumanji, like, how much of how likely is it that the soups that are left in the windowless, doorless room, that this is just Kate holding them? Because that feels pretty likely to me.
Ooh, that's a good theory, that's a good theory. Um,
I think Kate's trapped them. I don't know that where they are is real.
dang, I didn't think about that because it
So,
does look like you know what it looked like to me?
mhm.
And I know a lot of people have brought up these comparisons because God U is supposed to be a direct parody of the X-Men, but it looked like the X-Men kinda visuals from yeah, but I could see that. I could definitely see that because I
Because they
feel
have
like
things like Andre's there on his phone and Emma has her like boba tea or whatever.
and they're relaxed too.
Right.
Like, when Marie wakes up, she's freaked out, but everyone else, "Yep, we're just
Mhm.
here."
Yeah, exactly. Which makes me wonder if they're in some kind of Kate construct, something or other.
Mind
So,
palace.
because we know she does that. So, we've already seen that she can do that. So,
Yeah, maybe they, like, bot hooked her up to a machine that amplifies it, but she's a vegetable or something like that, or I don't know.
yeah, Kate's messed up at the end. That explosion is really, oh, it's really something. Like when Marie just
Yeah.
explodes her arm. Wow. Oh, it's something like, yep, the whole finale, like I said, they pack a lot into that time in a way that was really impressive to me. It was a solid end. And one of the other things that I really loved going back to Sam was the discussion between him and Luke, like
Mhm.
imaginary Luke, in the hallway right before Kate's telling him, I can just make you not feel anything. And I loved that Luke is sitting there and he's, no, you can be good. I know this. And this interesting like play of Sam recognizing that Luke's not real. I just thought that was really interesting. So he knows he's talking to himself and his rejection of his own like understanding that he could be good is just Yeah, again, heartbreaking and I loved it. I thought it was so good.
You know what I like about that scene is they have a bit of uh, I don't think it's like a blink and you'll miss it, but every time it's an editing thing, which I really liked, where Sam is talking to Luke and then it Kate's perspective and she's like looking to her right, who are you talking to? I think that was really well done because it shows she doesn't really care about Sam or really understands who he is.
Right.
Because if she understood who he is like Emma does, then maybe she would have been like, "Oh, okay, here's another way to get him, like, under the spell or whatever," rather than being so confused. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, totally.
A neat bit of storytelling.
Mhm.
But what do you think about we gotta talk about Homelander showing up.
I think he is terrifying no matter how long he is on screen.
Did you have the same feeling I did, like, when he showed up? Because when he showed up, I'm like, "Oh, okay. We're good. Everything's gonna be fine." And then I remembered as the same time that he delivers his line of, "Who are you?" and then calls her a monster, I'm like, "Oh, the boy season 3."
Yeah.
Right.
A monster, an animal. I'm just like, "Whoa." He is so scary. Also, I love the score when he comes in because it's the big, like, majestic music, except it's really discordant and
Inverted.
horrible. Oh, it's fantastic. The scoring there, I'll be honest, I don't notice the score a whole lot in The Boys or in Gen V. It's not something that really stands out to me in any kind of particular way. But oh my goodness, Homelander comes flying in and there's this yeah like superhero kind of music but it is really like dissonant and awful. Oh, it is mm, so good, like 100 points to the score writer on that one. I don't know who's done it, but oh, so good. It was fantastic moment there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, I just thought that was interesting because
Oh,
it's that moment where you're supposed to be like, "Oh, this is gonna be, like, the moment where it's like, oh, hey, join the boys," or join the
yeah.
yeah, join the 7. Or but, yeah, it was just this kind of inversion of that,
Yeah.
which I thought was really neat. Let's see. What else didn't we talk about? Oh, I wanna talk about 2 characters real quick.
Yep.
How did you feel about, Marie's benefactor being I wanna keep trying to say AOC, but yeah,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, Victoria Newman, um, and then, like, the FBI agent who is in charge of the boys showing up.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what's her name? Mallory. Yeah.
Mallory, that's it.
The Newman thing, again, that was one of those things I really thought prior to the reveal, I thought Edgar was also behind her, but maybe in a different way, just because we knew that he had been the benefactor for Newman. And so I thought maybe he saw her as somebody who, like, he wasn't able to do with her what he wanted. Here's somebody with similar powers, so it's going to be her. So that was what I thought going in before. It being Newman felt more okay. Newman has to show up so that she can show Marie that her powers are bigger than just I can shoot blood at people, that it's I can see things, I can sense things. And I felt like it was a little bit cheap there. So I didn't love that. I personally would have preferred it to be, but also I just want, you know, Juan Carlo and everything.
Yeah,
Like, just have him show up because I would have preferred him as a cameo.
it's the Ryan Airy curse. He goes all in on one prediction, and then doesn't end up being the case. Uh, what did he say about the hexagons and WandaVision? Uh,
Oh, I don't remember. I know that.
like, that there's something with the beekeeper, and that was, like, the real villain and Mephisto, and, um but, yeah, I thought that was, like I would have preferred it to be Edgar too, because I think that makes more sense because he got shuffled off in season 3 of The Boys.
Right on.
And it feels for someone that big to go away, that I feel like either Ashley or Edgar should have been, like, the person to fill that power vacuum.
I think so, personally.
Because let's be honest about Ashley for a second as CEO. I don't think that
I'm
I don't
convinced she has survived.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised she's still in The Boys, but anyways, speaking of, I thought the Mallory thing was cheap also.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so those are the 2 instances of key jangling that was really just I don't know if I need Mallory, but I
Yeah,
do that Mallory explicitly states that, "Hey, you don't wanna go without rules because I know somebody who's without rules."
right.
Obviously hinting at Butcher,
Butcher, yeah.
um but yeah, I'll be interested, to see where that goes.
My
So
kid literally just texted me while we were recording this. Kripke tweeted or X or whatever. The update editing is done, VFX halfway done, music and sound quarter done. Now that the SAG strike is over, yay! The actors can record additional dialogue. No air date yet, but will be worth the wait. It could be our best season for sure, our craziest. So, woo, yay!
and can I make a bold prediction, about that?
Yes,
Because at the time the SAG strike started, the guy who the actor who plays Butcher, oh gosh,
Carl Urban.
Karl Urban, was off filming, like, Mortal Kombat 2. I think there might be a delay on season 4 if he has to go back to filming season not season 2, uh, Mortal Kombat 2, because obviously they're gonna require more time of him, and it's not like you can exactly have a Prime Video-esque recording booth on the go.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what we get. I have like fingers crossed that it's the first half of next year anyway. We'll see.
Yeah, we're getting Invisible season 2, part 2, what did he say? Whenever it's finished. So I think I'm applying that mindset.
Yeah.
With that said, what do you think happens? What do you think the lead in is for season 4 of The Boys?
That's where the woods matters. Excuse me. Give me a second.
No worries, it's flu season, I get it.
That's where the woods I think matters the most is you have this soup virus. I am just super anxious to see what they do with that because that feels like it has the biggest implications for 4, obviously.
Yeah, I definitely think that Butcher gets his hands on it through Mallory or something, and I wanna say that I'm trying not to spoil the comic book too, because I know certain things about Newman that happen in the comic book. Um, I think those things will happen in season 4. I think it'll be about the political campaign and then also the virus. And then I'm betting that at the end of season 4, that virus gets unleashed. And
I
then
think
that's the
so.
hander into season 2 of Gen V, because that
Yeah, I
makes the
would
most sense.
yeah, I agree. I definitely think we're gonna have via like the photo of Homelander standing in the confetti and everything that was released just yesterday definitely indicates we're gonna have an election here. And we know that's coming just from the previous season. So that's obviously gonna be a big thing.
Yeah,
Like that's where the boys and Gen V most divide is one is far more political and one is a lot more social. And I think that is probably the biggest reason to watch both in my mind. Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing is I think they teased that Homelander's gonna go on trial too, so
Yeah. Yeah. Hashtag home free.
yeah, so you saw that, okay. But gosh,
Um,
what haven't we talked about? I
uh,
feel like
I,
we've covered everything,
I
right?
think most of it. Yeah. Like I said, Shetty is like the other character that we haven't really talked about. And what's his name?
Tech
Blink.
Knight?
Oh, Tech Knight. Tech Knight is worth watching if literally only for the vast number of whole comments that they make in that whole episode, that entire episode. Oh my goodness. It is so many more, especially when you know the story of him. It is fantastic. It's really funny.
Not to mention that the episode title is The Whole Truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess with that said, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Gen V season 1. We'll come back next year?
Yes.
Is it really gonna be next year for The Boys?
That's so far away.
For we'll come back and talk about Gen V season 4, The Boys season 4, in 2024. Whenever that comes out, I'll make sure to have you on again because that makes the most sense. Also, in terms of TV stuff, I'll have a season 1, not season 1, season 2 thing of Loki going up sometime next week with Matthew Simpson on Awesome Friday, who's also one of my patrons. Thank you. But I guess with that said, thank you everyone for listening or watching the Austin B Media podcast. I've been your host, Austin Belzer. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast app, or leave a comment in the YouTube the video thingy. You can follow me on social media at Austin B Media on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon, and Threads. Rip Pebble on the platform formerly known as Twitter, aka X. You can follow me at Austin B Media underscore. And if you fancy Letterboxd, I'm on there as Austin B Movie. Where can people follow you on social media, Elise?
I am most active on Threads and Instagram, where I am at Alise Chaffins. And you can find me on TikTok. I do 1 minute movie reviews there. And that is Elise D. Chaffins because I'm bad at branding. So, yay.
Yeah, I'll make sure to follow you because, or maybe I already do, but I see the notifications of the 1 minute. No, that's YouTube. That's where it is.
Yeah, I am on YouTube. I think I'm Elise Chaffins on YouTube.
But yeah, I'll make sure I'll follow you if I'm not already following you everywhere else. And also, in case I didn't already mention it, welcome to Cherry Picks.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was exciting. That was just a recent thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that last night, so wanted to mention it. But with that said, hope you all enjoyed the episode. I'll see you next year for The Boys season 4.